Welcome to Part 1 of our Employee Orientation Program. This program is a mandatory requirement for all employees of Omega Formwork. Part 2 of the orientation program will be completed on site as it is job site specific. After you have finished watching this video, you will be presented with a quiz. You must achieve a score of 80% on the quiz in order to earn a certificate of completion. You may replay this video as many times as you like. Topics covered in this video will be the company safety policy, assignment of responsibilities and accountability for safety, hazard assessment policy, list of safe work practices and job procedures, company rules, discipline policy, employee rights, personal protective equipment policy, maintenance policy, training policy, inspection policy, investigation policy, harassment policy, environmental policy, and the minimum tools required for each trade. The company safety policy. Omega Formwork will comply with all applicable laws and relevant standards of practice concerning protection of health and safety of its employees in the workplace and other persons affected by its business activities. Omega is committed to a strong safety program that protects its staff, its property, and the public from accidents. Management supports coordination of safety among all workers on all jobs. Management is committed to cooperating with employees at every level. Employees at every level, including managers, are responsible and accountable for the company's overall safety initiatives in every job. Management supports participation by all employees and will assist in this participation by providing proper equipment, training, safe work practices, job procedures, and by fostering and encouraging an active health and safety committee. Employees are required to follow all safe work practices and job procedures, work safely, and help improve safety measures. Omega is committed to conducting periodic reviews of the company's occupational health and safety program, policies, company rules, and making amendments as required to ensure there are no contradictions to the Act, regulations, or code of practice. An accident and injury-free workplace is our goal. With good management and with active employee participation, we can accomplish this. Assignment of responsibilities and accountability for safety. For managers, they are to provide information, instructions, and assistance to all supervisory staff in order to protect the health and safety of all of our employees. To understand and enforce our company safety program as well as the Occupational Health and Safety Act. To provide all supervisory staff with an understanding of our company safety program as well as relevant sections of the Occupational Health and Safety Act. To provide all supervisory staff with proper, well-maintained tools and equipment, plus any other special personal protective devices which may be required. To provide ongoing safety education programs and approved first aid training as required. To monitor departments and projects and hold them accountable for their individual safety performances. Supervisors are to know and apply the firm's safety policy in relevant sections of the Occupational Health and Safety Act. To ensure that all employees are educated to work in a safe manner and that they use all protective devices and procedures required by this firm and by legislation to protect their health and safety. To advise all employees of any potential or actual dangers and how to isolate, prevent, or remove them. To arrange for medical treatment as required in case of injury or illness, including transportation to a doctor or hospital as necessary. To report all accidents immediately, to investigate all accidents fully, and to advise management on how to prevent similar accidents in the future. To carry out regular inspections of the workplace to ensure a safe and healthy environment. Employees are to read, understand, and comply with the firm's safety policy, safe work practices, procedures, and rules. To wear the safety equipment and personal devices and clothing required by regulations and their employer. To notify their supervisor of any unsafe conditions or acts that may be of danger to other workers or themselves. To report all accidents and injuries to their supervisors as soon as possible. To take every reasonable precaution to protect the safety of themselves and other workers. Hazard assessment policy. The goal is to implement a systematic process for the identification and control of hazards. Omega will perform a comprehensive hazard assessment for all activities, equipment, processes, and property under our control. Review the comprehensive hazard assessment annually to ensure it has ongoing suitability for our operational needs. Perform a site project hazard assessment prior to the start of any job or project. Safe work practices. Safe work practices can be found in the company safety manual located in the job site trailer at each site. You can also ask your foreman for them. The following are a list of safe work practices. Attaching cable clips and clamping wire rope. Care of hand tools. Defective tools. Extreme temperatures, cold and heat. Fire and use of fire extinguishers. General electrical safety. Working with cranes near power lines or electrical equipment. Electrical contact practices. Housekeeping. Injury prevention. Manual lifting and material handling. Office safety. Shoveling and digging. Use of cleaning solvents and flammables. Use of compressed air. Use of electrical power tools. Use of gasoline cutoff saw. Use of a pry bar. Use of tire torches. Warehouse safety. How to wear a full body harness. Rigging. Hoisting signals. Acetylene. Propane and temporary heat. Aerial work platforms, scissor lifts. Job procedures. Job procedures can be found in the company safety manual located in the job site trailer at each site or by asking your foreman. The following are a list of job procedures available. Operating tools, portable circular saw, electric drill, portable grinder, and electric chop saw. Erecting and dismantling of footing forms, built-in-place wall forms, wall panel and column form systems. Wall form jumping procedure, PAL-DAL shoring systems, Hackey Alu tower shoring systems, slab flying form procedures, bridge formwork. Concrete placement for concrete ready mix truck, concrete bucket, concrete pump, and vibrating concrete. Concrete repair procedures, chipping, grinding, drilling, and patching. Material handling procedures, hoisting, handling, moving of loads with a crane, piling material at the leading edge of a slab, loading and unloading of trailers. Fueling, working in excavations and trenches, working near water, working at height procedures, use of ladders, ramps, and work platforms, use of access and/or rolling scaffold, fall protection/arrest plan, which is job site specific and will be reviewed with you during part 2 of the orientation program. Company rules. Rule number 1. The company safety policy will be read and followed by all personnel employed by Omega Formwork. 2. All employees will be aware of their responsibilities under the Occupational Health and Safety Act. 3. Vehicle equipment operators will have a valid license and operating ticket when required and operate all vehicles and mobile equipment in accordance with site rules, regulations, and manufacturer specifications. 4. Consuming alcohol or drugs during working hours and breaks is prohibited. Employees are not to report to work or be at work if they are impaired by alcohol or drugs. Employees who are taking over-the-counter prescription drugs are to notify their supervisor in confidence. Certain prescribed drugs may cause impairment. Due to the safety-sensitive nature of our work, employees will require written approval from the prescribing physician that they can safely perform their work without endangering themselves or others at the workplace. The company reserves the right to temporarily remove, reassign, or suspend an employee if the company deems that that employee cannot safely perform their work, regardless of a physician's written approval stating otherwise. 5. All work shall be carried out in accordance with appropriate safe work practices, safe job procedures, and your supervisor's direction. 6. Only those tools that are in good repair with all guards and safety devices in place shall be used. 7. All unsafe acts and conditions, accidents, and near misses are to be reported to your supervisor immediately. When this is not practical, you must report the incident prior to leaving the job site to your company safety advisor or supervisor foreman. 8. All employees are to practice good housekeeping at the work site and shall keep his/her work area neat, clean, and orderly. 9. CSA-approved hard hats and safety boots will be worn at all times by all Omega Formwork personnel at the work site. 10. Fighting, horseplay, practical jokes, or otherwise interfering with other workers is prohibited. 11. Theft, vandalism, or other abuse or misuse of company property is prohibited. 12. The use of ram sets, Hilti guns, and chainsaws are prohibited unless approved by senior management. 13. Shirts and long pants are to be worn by all labor personnel while working on company time. No tank tops, cutoff shorts, loose or ragged clothing is permitted. 14. Under no circumstances is an employee to ride on any piece of equipment unless they are occupying a place or seat designated for such a purpose. 15. Cell phone use during working hours is not permitted. Cell phones are only to be used during breaks, lunch, and in case of emergency. Supervisor foremen are exempt from this rule provided the use is company related. 16. Media and audio devices such as MP3 players and iPods are not to be used during working hours. Discipline policy. It is the policy of Omega Formwork to enforce all company rules. Disciplinary action for violation of mandatory requirements will be 2 verbal warnings, 1 written warning. Upon fourth similar offense, management and supervision will decide what corrective action should be taken. This may lead to retraining, 2-day suspension without pay, or possible dismissal. After the employee has gone 1,000 working hours without any infractions, their discipline record will be reset. Depending on the severity of the offense, employees may be dismissed without warning. Employee rights. The right to know. As an employee, you have the right to know about any health or safety hazards present at your workplace. You also have the responsibility under your Occupational Health and Safety Act to do everything possible to protect yourself and your fellow workers. Knowing requires active participation in the company's safety occupational health and safety program. Right to participate. You have the right to participate by being represented on a joint occupational health and safety committee. The committee must have at least 2 members. 1/2 of the membership must be represented by workers and must be chosen by workers. The main purpose of the committee is to provide a worker management group to address concerns regarding occupational health and safety. Right to refuse. The Occupational Health and Safety Act gives the employees the right to refuse work they believe to be unsafe. Employees not only have the right to refuse to perform unsafe work, they have the responsibility to do so. Every employee is responsible to identify and report hazards in the workplace. If a hazard is of a serious nature and could cause an accident, then work must stop until the hazard has been eliminated, controlled, or some sort of personal protection is in place. If an employee ignores or fails to report a known hazard, then a safety violation has occurred, and disciplinary action shall be taken. Right to make complaint or file grievance. The Occupational Health and Safety Act gives the employees the right to make complaint or file grievance where they feel an employer has failed to pay wages, salary, pay, or a benefit entitlement required pursuant to the Occupational Health and Safety Act and regulations, or on the basis of discriminatory action as defined in Section 45 of the Occupational Health and Safety Act. Employees have the ability to file a complaint or grievance by the method described in Section 46 of the Occupational Health and Safety Act. Personal Protective Equipment Policy, or PPE policy. The utilization of personal protective equipment is of primary importance to minimize injuries to our employees. All employees of Omega Formwork shall be trained in the care and use of specialized PPE by a qualified instructor. All employees of Omega Formwork other than office staff are required to wear the following minimum basic PPE at all times while in the employment of the company: CSA approved hard hat, CSA approved footwear, shirts and long pants, no ties, tank tops, loose or ragged clothing. In addition to the minimum basic PPE required at all times, all employees of Omega Formwork shall wear the appropriate PPE for the tasks they are performing, as indicated in the applicable safe work practice, job procedure, or when required by the Occupational Safety General Regulations. For example, safety glasses are to be worn when cutting material. Specific job sites may require additional PPE to be worn at all times. All employees are required to follow site-specific rules. Maintenance policy. Omega Formwork will maintain in good condition all tools, equipment, and facilities to maximize the safety of all personnel, property, and the general public. Supervision shall ensure that all preventative maintenance is carried out by qualified personnel according to established schedules and that records are maintained. All employees shall regularly check all tools and equipment that they are working with and shall take out of services any tools or equipment that pose a hazard due to a need of repair. Supervision shall ensure that all preventative maintenance is carried out on all circular saws, drills, grinders, vehicles, vibrators, small tools, and larger equipment as per the manufacturer's recommendation and the Occupational Health and Safety Regulation and Codes of Practice. Maintenance records may consist of invoices or receipts for tools, vehicles, and equipment being maintained. Training policy. The aim of Omega Formwork is to ensure that all company employees receive the required training to work safely. The safety training program will provide employees with the knowledge, confidence, and skills required to work safely. It may consist of the following: employee project orientation, which is compulsory; formwork courses held through third parties and unions; job site meetings conducted by the site safety representative; specialized training; corrective training as a result of investigations; refresher and upgrade training; job site training; toolbox meetings. Omega Formwork requires that any personnel who come to work will hold valid training for the position they are being employed in. Employees are responsible for maintaining current training documentation. Minimum training requirements for employees are: emergency first aid, fall protection 1, basic for workers; Omega safety orientation, WHMIS 2015. Rigging courses are also recommended for all employees, but not mandatory. Please visit our website, www.omegaformwork.ca, under the links section to register for online courses. Inspection policy. Omega Formwork will maintain a safety inspection program of its shops, facilities, yards, and sites. Supervisors are responsible to ensure detailed and accurate safety inspections are conducted. Foremen are responsible for conducting ongoing informal inspections on a daily basis. Safety coordinators are responsible to ensure the inspection program is being maintained. Formal job site safety inspections shall be conducted once a month and will be signed off by management and supervision. Toolbox meetings shall be conducted bi-weekly. Investigation policy. Omega Formwork requires that all accidents that result in injury or property damage be investigated so that causes can be determined and corrective actions can be implemented to prevent reoccurrence. Incidents that are determined to have had the potential for injury or property damage are also to be investigated. Accidents and incidents are defined as follows: 1. Accidents that result in injury requiring medical aid. 2. Accidents that cause property damage or interrupt the operation. 3. Incidents that have had the potential to result in one or two above. 4. All incidents that must be reported to the Occupational Health and Safety Division of the Department of Environment and Labor. Harassment policy. Omega Formwork, in cooperation with our employees and unions, is committed to a healthy, harassment-free work environment for all employees. Omega has developed a company-wide policy intended to prevent harassment of its employees and to deal quickly and effectively with any incident that might occur. Harassment is any unwelcome physical, visual, or verbal conduct. It is against the law. Harassment may include but not be limited to verbal or practical jokes, insults, threats, or personal comments. It may take the form of posters, pictures, or graffiti. It may involve touching, striking, pinching, or any unwelcome physical contact. Any behavior that insults or intimidates is harassment if a reasonable person should have known that behavior was unwelcome. The Human Rights Code protects everyone within provincial jurisdiction from harassment and other forms of discrimination on the basis of race, religion, sex, including pregnancy and sexual orientation, marital status, physical disability, mental disability, political opinion, color or ethnic, national or social origin, and age. Omega will not tolerate harassment directed to any person on the basis of those protected grounds. Environmental policy. All individuals will have responsibilities and will take the necessary action to protect the environment. Our company will ensure that land and vegetation, water and fisheries, air, wildlife, and wildlife habitat will be protected. Omega will train and educate our employees on environmental issues that may affect their work. Employees will also have good understanding of environmental practices and what measures are needed to control them. We shall use, store, and dispose of products in such a manner that will provide appropriate protection to the environment through our waste management program. Management will develop and enforce good environmental standards in accordance with relevant legislation. All environmental incidents will be reported to ensure compliance with statutory obligations. Minimum tools required for carpenters: claw hammer, 2-foot level, chalk line, carpenter's apron, pencil, utility knife, hatchet, handsaw, framing square, plumb bob 12 ounce or heavier, 25 foot or 8 meter measuring tape as required, adjustable wrench 12 inches or larger, lineman pliers or end cutters, 4-foot level. The minimum tools for laborers are claw hammer, 16-foot measuring tape, 25-foot or 8 meter is recommended, and a 12-inch adjustable wrench. This brings us to the end of the video. All safety binders can be found at each job site inside the job site trailer. If you ever have any questions or concerns, ask your foreman or senior management. We're here to help and ensure a safe work environment for all. Safety is a team effort. Please proceed to taking the quiz. You require a score of 80% in order to pass. A certificate of completion will be emailed to you once you have successfully passed the quiz. Good luck.